Rorschach Inkblot Test was developed in 1921 by Swiss psychiatrist Hermann Broca. It consists of 10 ink blots, 5 in black ink on white background and 5 in colored inks on white background. The Rorschach ink test is a measure of both the intellectual and non-intellectual personality traits. While developing this technique, Rorschach experimented with a large number of ink blocks which were administered to different psychiatric groups. On the basis of such a clinical observations, various psychiatric syndromes that differentiate response characteristics were taken upon scoring system. In the test, subjects are asked to simply state whatever each ink blot looks like to them. The responses are scored by the psychologist using predetermined categories on key factors such as color and space, shapes, movements, whether the whole or the part of blot has been seen, whether the response is given in content to the whole or to peculiar details in the blot. These blots are frequently used for the personality descriptions, diagnosis of the mental disorders, and for behavior predictions. The whole procedure of the Rorschach test is a combination of three components: performance proper, inquiry, and scoring. Let us look into one by one. Administration of Rorschach test. The administration of the Rorschach test can be put in two stages as given below. First one is the performance proper. The examinee is asked to get seated and rapport is established with him. The first plate is then handed to the client with the question, what do you think this could be? During the process, the examinee needs to be careful about the following things: reaction time, which means the time gap between the card presentation and examinee's response. Exclamations and the comments are excluded from the scoring. The position of the card is also taken account of while examinee is responding and are scored as B depending upon the direction in which the card is turned. The responses are recorded verbatim for the reason that examiner can read it and analyze the same effectively. The total time for which the card is kept by the subject is also recorded. The time lapsed between the presentation of the card and the first response the subject gives is called the first reaction time. Scoring of the Rorschach test. The major differences among the various scoring systems of Rorschach test flourished in 1930s to 1960s. There is also the focus of concern for Rorschach interpretations based either on the content of the responses or on their formal characteristics such as the location, determinants, form quality, and the various quantitative summaries derived from the responses. That is the content. Scoring of the location is important. The location refers to that the part of the plot with which each response of the subject is associated. For example, whether the whole blot or a common detail or a usual detail has been used by the respondent and are scored as W, D, DDD, etc. The determinants of the response include form, color shading, and movement and are coded as F, C, S, M, etc. The respondent's perception of the blot as a moving object is coded in context of movement. The various types of movement include human movement, animal movement, etc. The form quality of responses may depict the precision with which the response match the location used to their originality. The treatment of content also varies from one Rorschach system to another except some major regularly employed categories. Some of the main characteristics are human figures, human details, animal details, etc. and are coded as HA, HD, AD, etc. Some other broad scoring categories may include art objects, plants, maps, landscapes, clothings, etc. For each of the 10 cards, certain specific responses are scored as popular because of their common occurrence and thus constitute the popularity score. The qualitative misinterpretations of the Rorschach scores include the association of whole responses with conceptual thinking. The color responses given by the subject are indicative of the subject's emotionality and fantasy life. The entire response for all the 10 cards, including the enquiry, are integrated together to interpret the psychodynamics underlying the problem and also to decide upon the person.